Hello, my friends. I am Dr. Bree, and we're doing today a yin yoga practice that's going to be great for those of you who do have pelvic organ prolapse, but don't go if you don't have prolapse. You can still do this routine. It's a really relaxing routine, really for the whole body, and you're going to get so much out of it no matter what your pelvic floor condition or not. So the reason this is particularly good for prolapse is that we are going to actually relax and open the pelvic floor. Often people with prolapse tend to be actually a little bit tense. Their muscles in the pelvic floor tend to kind of hold a little excess tension because they're trying to keep everything in. And so this is going to give you an amazing opportunity to release and relax. We're also going to utilize poses that actually prop your hips up just a bit to help let gravity bring everything back into place. And we are going to do a few gentle twists and forward folds, but I'm going to teach you a breath that is going to help you reduce the compression that you may normally feel in twists and forward folds. We're going to keep them really gentle, and I think you're going to love this. So let's go ahead and get started. You will need 2 yoga blocks, at least one, but have 2 handy if it's possible. If it's not possible, you can often use a stack of books, but really ultimately I highly recommend getting some blocks for this video and future videos as well. Begin on your knees. Now, what I want to do first is actually 2 stretches for the feet, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But first, let me show you the stretch. So what you're going to do is bring your hands behind your back. You're sitting on your heels, and this is an ankle stretch. You are going to lean back onto your hands or onto your fists and lift your knees up off the floor. Now, this is a pretty intense stretch for the top of the feet. If this is too much, either stay this way, or if it's too much, you can sit on a block and just kind of gently work on stretching out the tops of the feet. You can have the block on this height as well. Just kind of play with the heights. But if you are where I was just a moment ago, see how this feels to sit right on your heels and then stretch back. Now in yin yoga poses, we hold each stretch for between 1.5 minutes, sometimes a little longer, sometimes up to 3 to even 5 minutes. In this practice today, we're going to hold our first couple of stretches just for 1 minute. The others are going to be a bit longer. If this feels like no problem at all and you want a little bit more, you can place your hands up on your thighs, and this is going to give you a balance challenge too. But if this is too much, then just place those hands back behind you. I want you to find your edge where you're really feeling that stretch, and then I just want you to sink into it. Take another couple of deep breaths. And in our next pose, I'll explain to you why we're starting with our feet. One more nice, deep, slow breath. All right, release very slowly. We always want to come out of the poses slowly. Now, come onto your hands, and you're going to tuck your toes under. Just paddle out your feet a few times because they may be a little bit feeling it after that last stretch we just did. But paddle out your feet and then come up onto your toes, sit back onto your heels again. So again, if you need a block or if you need to place a folded up blanket between your calf and your bottom, you can do that as well. But see if you can try to really have those toes tucked under and you're sitting up nice and tall. Knees are close, in line with your hips. Roll your shoulders down your back. And the reason we're working with the feet is that the connective tissue in your body really runs throughout your entire body. It surrounds the pelvic floor. It goes all the way up to your head. So from your toes to your head, you are connected by fascia, by connective tissue that surrounds everything. And amazingly, people with pelvic floor concerns have actually had a ton of relief from working on their feet, from strengthening and making sure their feet are extremely healthy. It helps improve your balance, it helps improve your posture, and it can even improve your pelvic floor health. So that's why we're stretching and starting with our feet. Take another deep breath in and out. And then I want to explain one more thing while we're still in this stretch. I want to explain what I call a decompression breath. This is something that I learned from my yoga teacher, and it's a wonderful thing for people who do have prolapse. Anytime we move into a slight gentle twist or a slight forward fold, which normally may be challenging for people with prolapse because it can really press down on the pelvic floor and the pelvic organs, what we're going to do is inhale and lengthen our spine, and then before and kind of as we are folding or twisting, we're going to do a decompression breath. I want you to try it now. Inhale, and then as you exhale, open your mouth and go. Now feel your pelvic floor lift and your low belly pull in as you do that. Let's try it one more time. It's the last breath in this pose. Deeply inhale, and then exhale. So with that, go ahead and release your feet. Oh my goodness gracious. Paddle out your feet. With that decompression breath, go ahead and sit back on your heels. You're going to start with the as kind of quiet, and then it's going to get a little bit louder as you go. Let's do one more. Inhale. And then exhale, start quiet, get a little bit louder. And just feel that decompression of your pelvic organs and your pelvic floor. It's really nice. All right, let's move into our next pose, which is going to be melting heart. This is wonderful for releasing the pelvic floor. Come onto your hands and knees. You may need a block for under your forehead for this move, but you might not. So come onto your hands and knees and then walk your hands forward. Keep your bum nice and high in the air and think about spreading your sitting bones apart. I like to wiggle into the pose, just kind of move around gently the first few seconds. And then your forehead rests on the floor. Find that perfect spot where you're really relaxed. Your feet are right straight out behind your knees. Maybe adjust so that your knees are right under your hips. And then move your arms into whatever position feels just right, where you're getting this nice shoulder stretch, but you're also getting a nice back stretch, and you're feeling just a release and opening between your sitting bones. So your pelvic floor is just really nice and open. Gravity is helping everything pull into the right place. Very gently engage your lower abdominal area. Just a gentle drawing in of your abs to help protect your back. We don't want your back to be swaying too much, not too much of an arch. So gently draw those abs in. Feel that complete opening and widening between your sitting bones as we rest here for one more minute. Last deep breath. Now bring your hands back easily and slowly. Come out of the pose, up onto your hands and knees, and then sit up onto your heels again. Come up onto your knees, rising up, and we're going to move into a half monkey. Carefully, you can use the wall or use something for support, but bring one leg out in front of you, and you might want to pad up under your knee with a blanket. You can also play with foot position for the back foot, either tucked or flat. What I'd like you to do is inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale with that decompression breath. Stick your bottom back and just lean slightly forward. This is not a deep forward fold like this. Instead, we're really just staying up nice and high on the thighs, or you can also have 2 blocks. So do what you need to do. We're not going to be here actually that long, just about 1 minute. I want you to inhale, lengthen your spine. Feel that as you really sit into this pose, your sitting bones are going straight back behind you. Now it's important to work on hamstring length, because if your hamstrings are really tight, it can make it so that your posture is funny, and maybe you tuck your bum under like this when you sit, maybe you slouch. That can happen when your hamstrings are really tight. And when you do this, when you slouch, it actually causes a lot of compression, a lot of pressure, downward pressure on your pelvic organs. And so we want to lengthen the hamstrings by sending the sitting bones back and really feeling into this back of the thigh stretch. One more deep breath in and out. And now go ahead and release the hands. Bring them to the inside. Carefully work that leg around. Just kind of shimmy things around a little bit. I always like to just move my body in a way that feels natural between sides. And then come back up onto your knees. Again, use a wall or chair or something for balance if you need to. Maybe pad up under this bottom leg, the bottom knee if you need to. Sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, decompression breath forward. Think about sending your sitting bones back and just a gentle leaning forward. You can get a big stretch simply by keeping your legs straight and your back straight as well. And really thinking about sending your sitting bones back so that they're not tucked under. Find your edge and hold. Breathe normally and easily. Hands are on your thigh or on 2 yoga blocks. One more breath. Now bring your hands down toward the floor. Carefully bring that leg out behind you. And let's go into a square pose. Now this is a pretty intensive pose, and we're gonna hold it for a while. I'll give you some options if you need it for tight hips. So what we're gonna do is bring the left leg so that the shin is parallel to the short edge of your yoga mat. I'm actually gonna show you straight on. I think that will be easier. But the shin is parallel to the front edge of the yoga mat. This is my left leg. Now the right leg is going directly on top. Think about putting your ankle right over my right ankle is right over my left knee. And try not to sickle your ankle. So you want it to be nice and neutral, not like this. Now in this position, what we want is to shift our hips so that our sitting bones are straight on the ground and that our legs are stacked one on top of the other. Now, ultimately, you can get it so that your legs are laying on one another. That's what we're shooting for, but if you're not there, that's okay. there are options. You can, first of all, sit on a yoga block. Sit on the edge of a yoga block or a folded blanket. That can help. The other thing you can do is use a yoga block right here to take up space, to fill that gap between your top knee and your bottom foot. So both of these are options, and you should feel this stretch really deeply in your hips. Now again, this Prolapse class, we're working on releasing and opening the hips, opening the pelvic floor area, because it tends to be so tense. So we're doing several stretches that are really going to work on the hips and really the whole body, as I showed you at the beginning with our feet and ankle stretches. So in this pose, taking your time to find that spot where you're really getting that nice stretch, using blocks, sitting on a folded blanket if that helps to elevate your hips, putting the block right here if you need that. Just find that beautiful position. And in about a minute, we're going to add a twist. Twists can be extremely helpful for digestion. And digestion and smooth elimination is something that's really important for people with prolapse. We want to keep our bowels running smoothly, and constipation, we don't want that to happen, because every time you push and strain, it's hard on your pelvic floor. So twists are a great way to help with the digestive system. So let's take another 30 seconds or so in this position, and then we'll add a gentle twist. Sitting up nice and tall. One more deep breath in and out. And now let's add that twist. Deep breath in, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, decompression breath, and twist. My right hand moves toward my right foot. Sitting up nice and tall, twisting nice and easy. You don't need to go any deeper than this. It's just a gentle hip stretch and a twist. Sitting up very, very tall. Spine is long. And after you did that decompression breath, now you're just breathing easily and slowly, whatever feels good to you. I like to breathe down into my belly, down into my pelvic floor, and I like to feel like I'm actually massaging my internal organs as I do the deep, deep breaths. One more slow, deep, and easy breath. And now look your head forward. Place your hand behind your back. Bring your feet nice and wide. And just windshield wiper your knees. Drop one knee to the side and then the other knee to the side. And we're going to do the same pose on the other leg. So my right leg was on top before. So this time my left leg will be on top. All right, let's go ahead and move into the other side. So right leg is now on the bottom for me. Parallel, shin parallel to the edge of your yoga mat. So it's not in like this. Nice and parallel. Now my left leg is going to stack right on top. Remember that you want to keep a nice flex at the ankle, and you don't want your ankle to sickle like this. Your ankle should look like a nice full moon. So you should see that nice circle of your ankle right there. Shift around so that your sitting bones are nice and flat on the mat. You can sit on the edge of a folded blanket or on a yoga block, or you can take up space, fill the gap with a block between your foot and your knee. Do what you need to do to really sink into this pose. And I'm going to be a little more quiet on this side, give you a little more time to just stretch. You can have your hands behind you if that helps you to sit up nice and tall, or they can be relaxed on your leg. Shift into the pose. With Yin Yoga, we're always finding our edge and then sinking into the pose. Neck and shoulders are relaxed. One more breath in and out. Now this time, inhale nice and tall. Exhale, decompression breath. And left hand goes to the left sole of the foot in a very, very gentle twist. Super, super gentle, nothing crazy here. And now just breathe gently and easily. I do like to breathe pretty, gently, but deeply and full down into my belly. And I really like to think of massaging my internal organs as I breathe in and out. One more nice deep breath. And now bring your head back to the center and your hands behind you. Carefully unwrap your legs. Oof, quite the stretch, right? Nice wide feet and drop one knee at a time, windshield wiper pose. Breathe steadily and easily. And before we move into our next pose, which will be on our back actually, I'm going to have you do a very quick saddle pose. So sit up tall, bring your legs wide. Everyone will be different for this. Some people you'll be able to be really wide, other people not so much. But do what you need to do, and just like before, it might help to actually sit on a yoga block or on the edge of a folded blanket. So choose what you want to do. I'd like you to keep your toes pointing up and not falling in. So let's try to keep our legs so that the toes and feet are pointing up toward the ceiling. for many of you, just being right here, being nice and tall is going to be enough. You're going to feel a deep stretch in your inner thigh area, and you're just going to feel tall and lifted. That's great. That's a great feeling. If you want more and you want to experience more of a forward fold, we've really got to do that decompression breath. So inhale, long spine, and exhale, now fold. Now once you're in the fold, you can work your sitting bones back toward the back of the room and start breathing normally. You don't have to worry about the decompression breath now. Breathe normally. And at this point, if you feel comfortable and you don't have any pain in your back, then go ahead and let gravity do the work and let gravity just kind of pull you down. Still keeping your legs and toes pointed generally up. We don't want them falling too far in. We want to keep them pointed up. So it's kind of a balance between an active but yet still a very passive fold. Remember that if this fold is too much, you can always be sitting upright. You do not need to be doing this fold with me. We just have one more breath. Now, gently bring your hands slowly back. And now that we're all stretched out through the inner thighs and our hamstrings, let's move into our finishing poses. We have a few more left. We're going to be using a block for these. You'll definitely need a block for what we're about to do. So if you don't have a block, go grab a really, really big, thick book or a couple of books that will stack well on top of each other. Come down through your side, so not just jackknifing down. You want to come down through your side and then roll onto your back. And we're going to move into Waterfall, which is actually a really nice, energizing pose. You're going to put the block on the lowest height under your bum. So engage your glutes and lift gently up and put the block under your sacrum. So it's not under your low back. You're not like that. It's under your sacrum, the back of your pelvis, and your hands can be on the ground. Now bring one leg up and then the other. And from here, you're just going to bring your legs straight up toward the sky. Find that balance point, and you might need to shift yourself around a little bit, maybe even shift your block around a little bit. But find that balance point where your legs just feel weightless. So maybe turn your palms upward toward the sky. And just find that point where your legs feel weightless and feel the energy, the vitality just draining down from your feet, down your legs, down into your pelvis. Feel that vitality coming and gathering in the pelvic area. And just breathe deeply and easily. Your feet don't have to be touching, they can be gently apart. Maybe not too wide though. Let's try to keep them hip width distance apart. They can be touching if that feels easier for you though. One more nice deep breath. And then very carefully bend your knees. Drop one foot to the ground and then the other foot. And just stay right here in this nice supported bridge position. And if you would like to go up one more height on your block, you can. So I'm not on the tallest height, now I'm on the middle height. In this position, we're going to do one full, strong Kegel. So a Kegel contraction is where we are engaging our pelvic floor muscles, drawing them inward and upward toward our head. So in this case, they're going like this, toward the head. So I'm going to actually go back down. I feel like it's more comfortable for me and I feel more supported when the block is on the lowest height. Let the legs go. Take a deep breath in. And then on the exhale, draw the pelvic floor muscles in and upward toward your head. Hold that Kegel contraction. Keep drawing the muscles of your pelvic floor in and up like they're gathering everything in and upward. Hold it for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then fully release, 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 release. So if you imagine like you were pulling a marble into your body during the contraction, now I want that marble to completely release out of your body and roll across the floor. We are relaxing the pelvic floor. Take a deep breath. And let's relax it even more now with a reclined butterfly. Hips are still up on the block, so don't move the block. Keep it right where it is, unless this hurts your back. We never want pain. For some people, you're going to need some props, some blankets or pillows or maybe more yoga blocks to put under your knees. Or, like I said, you can remove the block and be flat on the ground with your hips, but I like to be up on the block, and it's so great if you have prolapse to be elevated with your hips. So see if you can handle this butterfly position, soles of your feet together. Shift your upper body as you need to. And just place your hands maybe on your low belly if that's comfortable for you, or they can be on the ground. Totally relax. Release. Breathe deeply. Feel that you're safe in releasing and opening your pelvic floor. Right now, you're safe. Nothing's going to fall out. You're in a good position to just open and relax. One more nice, deep, slow breath. And then use your hands to gather your legs back together. Take this nice and easy. Use your hands to help out. Carefully and slowly come out of the pose and take just a moment in a counter pose, feet nice and wide, and just let your knees drop together. I like to place my hands on my belly, on my pelvic area, and just give my body some love. Just send my body some positive energy. Think of all that it's done for us, all that it does for us every single day. And now bring your legs up, feet flat on the ground. Engage your bottom, lift up into a nice bridge, remove your block, and let's straighten out one leg and then the other. Nice wide feet, wide apart, flopped apart, arms nice and wide. Take up space. We're just going to take a couple minutes to completely relax the entire body, flat against the ground. I want you to really scan your body, starting at your head and ending at your feet. So let the back of your head grow heavy into the floor. Lengthen your neck. And again, let the back of your head get heavy. Let the backs of your shoulders and your shoulder blades draw heavy down into the ground, and the backs of your hands heavy into the floor. Breathing deeply and gently and slowly and easily and fully into your pelvis. Feel the back of your pelvis get heavy. The back of your thighs, your calves, your heels get heavy. And just be for one more minute. Just relax. I'm convinced that relaxation does more good to your body when it comes to healing than any exercise, any medication, any diet plan. Relaxation really is the key. Now bring your mind back into the present moment. Take one more nice deep breath. And roll onto your side. Take one breath here, and then we'll push ourselves back up into a seated position. Go ahead and come up into a seated position using your arms to help and using a nice exhale to bring yourself up. Thank you so much for being here and doing this yin yoga practice with me. I hope some of these things helped you. The idea of taking a break with your hips elevated is actually really helpful even if you don't do the full yin yoga practice. Just at the end of a long day, if you're feeling that heaviness in your pelvic floor, prop your hips up on some blocks or some pillows and just rest. Take some deep breaths. Also, that decompression breath that we talked about is something you can use in all sorts of exercises and stretching routines, so hopefully that will help you as well. If you are an essential oils user, I highly recommend diffusing or spritzing into the air some bergamot or bergamot, depending on how you want to say it. That's the oil of self-love. Also, some lavender is nice as well. That's a really calming blend. So lavender and bergamot is a really lovely blend for the oil of self-love and just self-acceptance for this time that you are in your healing journey, wherever you are. If you're dealing with a very mild prolapse, or maybe you're dealing with a more severe prolapse, maybe you're under the care of a pelvic floor physical therapist, or maybe you're even looking into surgical options. No matter what, you're doing a great job by taking care of yourself, and I hope this video has served you. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and as always, remember, eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste.